Hi, this is Mitch Doan, and along with Jamie Richardson, we're your hosts of the Break-Thru Active podcast. We aim to deep dive into health and fitness that will help bring you a better understanding of topics that are of interest to you and can help you on your own journey. If you are enjoying the episodes, we'd love for you to leave us a rating on the platform you listen to your podcasts. Enough from me, sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome back to the Break-Thru Active podcast. We have a very special episode today. I've got my good friend Stephen Cooley. Welcome, Steve.
Hey mate, how you going?
Good. And then we've also got one of my other very dear friends, who's also a member of us down there at Break-Thru Active. We've got Corey. So thanks for jumping on with me today, Corey.
Thanks, mate. No worries.
We're gonna talk a little bit about Corey's time with us at Break-Thru. He's been one of the OGs, one of the originals. Got started with his wife Mel at the beginning of 2018 when we were operating as a boot camp over at Wallsend and Elmore, and has been with us ever since. Made the transition over to Cardiff, and one of the most loved people down at Break-Thru amongst the members and the trainers. I don't think there's any way we can sort of dance around that, but we're just going to explore his journey with us and talk a little bit about his time with us. So first question I wanted to ask Corey, you've been into your training for a long time, but before you met us, obviously a few years ago, what had you done when you were a bit younger and first got into the gym scene?
For me, it started in high school. I was into cross-country running. I did that with school. Outside of school, I started boxing probably about the age of 13, 14, I think. Boxing progressed into freestyle martial arts, Muay Thai, and I was in and out of schools right up until I was probably in my late 30s. So, yeah, that's pretty much running and martial arts.
And as far as, I guess, gym environment, boot camp, sort of more like the weight stuff, circuit training, anything like that, had you sort of dipped your toe into that at all?
No, never. I sort of found to go to the gym and just lift weights to me was boring. I like the contact of martial arts. It might sound strange. It's intimidating to some people, but that's all I ever knew. I like that full contact. It wasn't really much into lifting weights until, we found boot camp, obviously.
Yeah.
But
cool. I think it's very important to be enjoying what you do for exercise. Steve, me and you have spoke about this a little bit when we're talking about workout design and sort of talking about workouts for the members. And we always, even back in the boot camp days, we always wanted it to be something that people would have fun with. So talk a little bit, Steve, about what, I guess for you sort of try to put into a workout, to make sure that it is fun for people.
I guess like for me in particular, I just like anything with like a little bit of camaraderie. So anything partnery is obviously more than ideal. Also, I've always I remember back in the day when I was running boot camp sessions and we pretty well would design our own workouts. I used to like giving members a bit of a choice on what they were doing, like kind of like a this or that, because that way, they're sort of in charge of what they want to do. Like you're giving them the specific template anyway and the specific structure to follow, which keeps it easy for them. But I used to like just giving a bit of a choice of this or that, and that way they can mix it up from round to round and it just doesn't stay stale or whatever. Yeah. And then on the topic of going back to what Corey said, something about like I was very, very taken aback there that he's done mixed martial arts in the past, and I've just learnt now and just decided now that if ever there's anything you don't want to do in the gym, Corey, you just let me know, mate, because otherwise you'd be kicking my ass in the gym. So I'm just going to put my hands up.
It's the only sport I've ever played. Though, yeah, obviously it just becomes too risky as you get older and you've got knee problems. Otherwise I'll be still doing it.
Yeah. So it's not exactly the most low impact thing when you
it's done some damage, let me tell you.
So so you obviously enjoyed that when you're a bit younger, and then when we met you a couple of years ago, like I mentioned earlier, to beginning of 2018, sort of just prior to that, 2017, let's say, were you doing any sort of regular exercise or training?
A little running, but not maybe a couple of times a week at the most. I certainly wasn't going to the gym. Yeah, I think I'd stopped martial arts at that point because my knee injuries went beyond, like, before that time. Yeah, and then Melanie dragged me into. Well, she didn't drag me. She took me there, and I was, because of my background and what I was doing, I had a closed mind. I walked in and I said to Jamie, pretty sure, I don't know if this is for me, but I said, come along and have a look with my wife, and yeah, and I was wrong. So I was wrong.
We've spoke about that before because back, and then I know Mel was the one who had originally sort of inquired and organised to check it out, and you kind of came down being the loving, supportive husband that you are, and then a bit. And I think it's pretty normal for people, for some people to be a bit uncertain at the start. Steve, you could probably talk to that a little bit about when people do kick off, their first session or their first couple of sessions, and the uncertainties that they have, within their first session or two.
100%. I think the reason why I can sort of relate is because, I've been in that specific situation before where I've started down at the boot camp. And then it's pretty normal for people to come into each session feeling a little bit daunted, obviously, because, in any social setting, it's obviously going to be, daunting at the fact of not knowing anybody and meeting new people and stuff. But then it's even more amplified, I guess, because, people place with fitness and that relates to your overall well-being. So I just think that that feeling of being daunted can amplify more so when you're in a gym setting as well, because you don't want people thinking that you're unfit, or you don't want to feel crap about yourself and that sort of jazz. So I can completely understand when people walk in those doors initially that they can, it can feel very, very daunting to them.
And I think for you, Corey, it was probably a little bit of that, but also just that the fact that you maybe didn't think you would enjoy it because you had come from different background. Yeah.
Coming from a sport that was obviously a lot of contact involved in it, I still like that idea of it. Whether it would be sparring and the training the body to learn how to do something like that. I like that side of it. It's why I watch a lot of documentaries and stuff like that about extraordinary things that people do, train their body and mind to do. But saying that, life's changed dramatically coming into this style of working out, and with the people we train with, that's what makes me go there every day. It's amazing.
Well, yeah, it's been going on 5 years now. So talk a little bit about how your body's changed, because I know we mentioned it earlier, and you have battled a couple of old knee injuries and a few bits. So talk a bit about that.
Yep. I probably didn't have that much weight to lose when I come in, because I probably wasn't at the heaviest I was when I first started boot camp, or have been. Overall body shape is completely different without blowing my own trumpet or anything like that. Whole body's changed completely. I like the way it looks. I like the way I feel. And it's just a reminder of why I go and do it. It's just consistent. Well, I once heard somebody say to me, you've got to be consistent and just trust the process. And it's just happened for me. So it's ongoing though. Exercise is easy for me. I say it to everybody. 45 minutes of exercise is easy. The other 23 hours in the day are the hardest, because I've got to control food in that time. So,
hey, Corey, in comparison to like, when you were training mixed martial arts for so long and then you came into the boot camp setting and now with us currently today, like what are the differences in the way you see your body when you were training mixed martial arts full time in comparison to now with like boot camp and this style of training?
I was lean. Obviously, the mixed martial arts was high intensity as well, but I was lean because I wasn't doing any weights at all. So I was probably less. I probably weighed less then, but I was just leaner.
Yeah.
Like it, and that doesn't go very good with that sort of sport. You know what I mean? I suppose I could be powerful because I was lean, but I'd love to be who I am now and be doing it 10 years ago. With the strength that we probably acquired doing this sort of exercise would be great.
100%.
Especially I never put any value on core work back then.
Yeah.
I couldn't do 20 sit-ups back then.
Yeah.
So and coming to martial arts, that's ridiculous. But I could still do it fine. But then it's probably where injuries come in too.
It's kind of like the style of training that we do, and a lot of like the mixed modality stuff is now like, it's not just weights, as you know, like we do free weight stuff, we do body weight work, we got the cardio stuff, we got like the machines, we got running, we got core work, there's a bit of everything. And a big part of that, and a big benefit of that, is it does prepare you to do a lot of other things outside of the gym. And although it's not super specific to mixed martial arts, I thought that was interesting that you'd realize that if you had gone, if you went back now, obviously you're a little bit older, but your body's a lot stronger and you've developed a lot more core strength and core stability. And that's without training specifically to martial arts. That's just building your body and building strength, and obviously continuing with your fitness and flexibility and all that stuff. But that sort of relays over to other sports too, for people who are playing, an over 35 soccer, or they're playing touch footy, or they're doing, anything, even if they start wanting to go and do more hiking or, more walking or skiing or whatever it may be. The idea is that if we do have a stronger body, we do have a fitter body, and we're a bit more mobile and flexible, that it is going to be advantageous for no matter what we are doing outside of the gym. But yeah, very interesting for you to sort of realize that perhaps, when you were doing that, you didn't have much strength. And I know now you love your training, you love your core work, and you're probably, 10 times as strong as you were 10 years ago, and reversing the age clock there a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I don't post photos of myself on Facebook, but there's a couple there that I look back on, and it reminds me it's probably 10, let's go back 10 or 12 years at 101 kilos.
Wow.
I've got that on my phone as a reminder.
I can't imagine you that big.
No.
Yeah, it was that. I mean, I wasn't lifting any weights ever. So, at 101 kilos, you don't look very healthy.
We're not meaning to give you a big head here, mate, but like actually, I think it was yesterday, Mitch and I were talking, and you were saying that he said, Corey's coming on the podcast. I said, oh yeah, sweet. So that'd be a mad chat. And the pair of us said, I hope like when we get to Corey's age, looking as good as Corey. So don't let your head get too big, mate. All right.
You know, Melanie's going to listen to this, don't you?
Don't worry, Mel. You'll always be the beautiful one in the relationship. Don't worry about that.
Look, we like working out together. We complement each other. She brought me into this, and I still pay respect to that, because had she have not, who knows? I don't know. I wouldn't feel and maybe look as good as I do today. So.
Hey guys, just very quickly, if you have been enjoying our podcast and you've been watching us on YouTube, I would love for you to subscribe to our channel. If you've been listening to our podcast, give us a follow, give us a 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify or wherever it is that you've been listening to us. It really helps the channel grow, and I would be extremely appreciative and grateful if you took a moment to do that for me. Okay, that's it from me. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah.
It's
That's your thought.
I think it's really cool when you see couples that do it together. And I know like
Yeah.
your schedules don't always match up and everything, but you know, we have quite a few couples who come through together, Dave and Lynn's, Mick and Julie, Karen and Mick. You know, there's quite a handful of them who, if they're not doing it together, like they're in the program together. So do you feel like that it's changed yours and Mel's mindset at home a bit, even just with like your general lifestyle and nutrition and things?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Melanie's very good with her food, nutrition. She pulls me up. But that's how it is. A typical man will just eat what he wants. Whereas a woman's very, very conscious about it. So that Melanie's good with the food. I'll give her that. And she exercises too. So you know,
Kicking it from both ends.
she compliments me and vice versa, you know. But we don't put pressure on each other. You know,
No.
we just enjoy it.
I think it's good just to have that general support for each other, because have been times in the past when we've got other members and their partners, not that they're trying to sabotage them, but they're eating kind of whatever they want at home. And you know, the one who's not doing that, they're trying to be healthy and improve their lifestyle, but they find it very hard when there's always other foods and other things in the house. So it always tends to work better when you're in it in unison, like you're doing it together.
Yeah, the same mindset. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm just able to eat. I'm able to eat pretty much what I want, but I have a system for myself. You know, I work 50-50 roster. So when I'm at work, there's pretty much no bad stuff at all. Then when I'm off, you know, I pretty much eat what I want, but I'm still conscious of what I'm doing. Even if I'm putting something crappy into my mouth, I'm still conscious of. Does that sound silly? I'm still conscious of it.
Yeah, no.
And
The
aware
quantity.
of what I'm doing. Yeah.
Well, I did want to ask quickly about your work, because I know you do shift work, and we've had many conversation about this, you know, me and you, Corey, but it's not the most healthy group of people that you work with, and you're kind of like the odd one out when you bring in, you know, healthy stuff and eating, you know, like we all like to eat, but maybe not like how some other rig pigs like to eat. So talk a little bit about how and you touched on it earlier, talk a little bit about how you've created that structure for yourself.
How am I going, with the way I look at it within myself, and me and Melanie have a conversation every now and then, I bring it up and I think, oh shit, I might have put on a few more kilos, especially since last Christmas. I need to change something. So the way I structure it for myself, eating. So if I like to have the foods I like to eat, or just eat normal without worrying about it too much, to go to work when I'm on a 50-50 roster, so I might do 2 days on and a couple of days off and so on. I find if I eat as strict as I can eat when I'm at work, because I'm not moving my body much, then when I'm off, I pretty much eat what I want, because I'm moving a lot more. And that's a system I've run since we started boot camp, pretty much. And it works for me. I mean, you know, my weight's probably gone up a little bit over the years, but then we're lifting weights and, you know, body's got bigger and probably musclier. So I probably feel like I've put on a couple of kilos since Christmas, but, you know, let's face it, I really got too much to worry about considering I'm nearly 50. You know what I mean? So it's just got to work the system that works for you. You got to work out something that works for you. Like, I do shift work. Well, the system I've got works for me. Might not work for everybody because we all do different rosters. So
shift work shift work is definitely challenging. I've never done it, but spoken to enough people over the years to know that just not having that monotony, you need to find what works. But I'd be interested to ask you, Steve, because you've lost a lot of weight, you know, in years gone by. Did you have sort of some fixed structure to your nutrition like what Corey has? Like, maybe not the same structure, but is it something that worked for you?
Well, I've always been like pretty bad, like back in the day, like I was pretty bad when it came to like sweets and like any of that sort of jazz. And I remember in particularly, I remember I had, so the structure I had when I lost all that weight back in 2016, I think it was 2016, 2017, I had a specific structure, and that was just pretty well. I remember Wednesday being the day where I could have something big, like something like a decent meal to, like, I guess, to reward myself for the 6 days that was. So I found it pretty well, like not the whole day, but I remember knowing that like there was a specific meal where it was pretty well no holds barred. That was me, because I knew that throughout the week I was just like pinpoint accurate to everything, and it was almost like my reward at the end of it. And for that 12 to 18 months, that I felt like that worked really well for me. Whereas nowadays I generally eat pretty healthy from day to day. So I'm at that point now where if I have something that's a bit more calorie dense or higher in calories and whatever, I'm not too worried about it, because I know that like in the days coming, I'm going to be super active anyway. So yeah, that works for me.
So you're just being conscious about what you're doing, Steve-o.
Yeah, I'm just it's always in the back of my head, Corey. I just sort of know, like, if I know, like, just leading up, like, for example, we're having a karaoke night the 24th of September. So I know leading up towards that, I know that day is probably going to be thrown out the window regarding, trying to stay in the deficit or trying to stay in the maintenance calories and all that sort of jazz. So that week I might eat a little bit less and up my steps, maybe just that little bit more. So I'm like yourself, I'm not like super restrictive. I'm not like, oh, I can't do this, I can't have that, or I'm eating too much of this. I just sort of know in the back of my head. I'm just like, okay, I just know, and I'll just tweak a little bit and then just roll through from there. It's pretty well like just a normal week. It doesn't feel too restrictive in the end.
I think it's the more you do it, the more you start to understand your body and understand your lifestyle and the choices you make. So like you said, Corey, you've been sort of eating and doing this structure for the last 4 or 5 years. So that's just what you do now. Like that, you eat very well when you're on shift, and then when you're not on shift, you enjoy yourself a bit more, but it all kind of balances itself out.
Yep.
And same for you, Steve. Like you've lost all that weight. You're not looking to necessarily really lose any weight. It's more of like a maintenance gig now, and you kind of have a very fair idea of what you need to do to maintain. And whenever I'm talking to members about nutrition, that's kind of what we're aiming for. We're aiming to get to that point for them where they do understand their body and understand what works for them. Like what both you guys have just spoke about, very different. Yeah, very different work situation, lifestyle, and everything that goes with that. But it's just about finding something that works for you, and then doubling down on it and sort of just sticking to a plan long enough to be able to see it work and manifest. And then like what you both found, you're very aligned with it now. And I think, like you mentioned, Corey, I'm from the same school of thought where the exercise stuff has always been something I've really enjoyed. So there are days when, you have a bit of a tougher day and you don't really want to do it as much because you're tired or fatigued or whatever. But yeah, it's the nutrition stuff that can be really challenging, because that's the other 23 hours a day that you're having to try and stay on top of it.
The exercise is the easy part to me. It is. You might be in some pain while you're doing it, but it's the easy part.
It's the fun stuff.
I just wanted to ask Corey, just like when you're talking about like your lifestyle and whatever, I just think it's important to note is like, obviously doing shift work, obviously you hear so many people, like pretty much everybody that does shift work, they talk about like their sleep and like how fatigued they are. And I was just wanting to know like how you manage that, like how you manage to get in your sessions, and how you manage to train as much as you do, and how you juggle your sleep patterns.
Yeah, Melanie will tell you that I'm very regimented with what I do.
Okay.
very regimented. So if I let's say I'm doing 3 night shifts, probably the hardest I'll have to do. I will make sure that I've got earplugs in. The room's dark and cool. I don't have coffee after midnight the night before. I don't eat sugar, like any added sugar or anything like that, leading up to, or over that whole period. And this is to maximise trying to get sleep, because it's harder to sleep during the day. So I'll go to bed for that 6 hours and generally get 6 hours, and I get through it fine. I try to limit carbs, the main carbs, when I'm working. Come to the end of a block of shifts, I'm usually hanging for a bowl of pasta or something like that. Which I do anyway at the end of it. But it's just being disciplined with what I do, especially night shift. Day shift's different, but making sure I get the right amount of sleep so I can function. You know what I mean? I've still got to get through a shift, not only that little bit of exercise you do and everything else. So just the discipline and everything, and the routine, to keep the same routine all the time.
Again, you found out what works good for you, so you just able to stick with it pretty easily.
You've got to stick to a routine on shift work. You stick to the same routine. Or the first shift back, I'll make sure I go to bed for 3 hours at the same time every single time. And like I said, the coffee and the sugar is a big thing. People think they can still drink that stuff and try and sleep during the day. Just makes it harder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
It's very much an environment thing too. Like you mentioned, getting your bedroom set up so it does allow you to sleep in the day, and blackout curtains and earbuds and everything. Because I think when people don't have that, then obviously they're then probably not going to get any decent sleep, and then that rolls into the next day, can affect the next day, and then all of a sudden maybe you haven't done any exercise for a few days because you've just been like a walking zombie almost. And we have a lot of people. We have a lot of nurses and some guys who work up, and girls that work up Singleton and do their shift stuff. And I think you've kind of got it down, to be very very honest. It seems like you're in a very good place with it. And there has been some mornings when when we train you at the gym and you haven't had an ounce or a wink of sleep, and I do definitely credit you for that, because that wouldn't be easy.
It feels like shit. It feels like shit, but I tend to don't complain about it. I might mention it. This is just something it's got to be done. Whether I do a workout at home or a workout with you guys, it's just, I don't know, it just becomes another routine, just like the work routine.
Yeah.
You get it done. There's definitely no motivation in going to the gym straight after work. I can tell you now, none at all. It's just the discipline and routine that you create.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about. Motivation only lasts for so long, and that's where you need to have the discipline and the strategies around your life to be able to pave your way to have that discipline. Otherwise, anytime you get tired, anytime you have some sort of inconvenience in your day or your week, then the motivation is going to go. But the discipline is what stays.
Absolutely. There's nothing motivating when it's winter and it's freezing, and you want to get out in the shed here and it's concrete floor. There's nothing motivating, not at all. It's horrible, but it's just got to be done.
But what an awesome feeling it is after you finish that workout, though.
Well, yeah, it is.
I love it.
Everybody's on a high when they walk out of the gym. Everyone. I don't think I've seen somebody walk out of there unhappy. Really? Do they? They don't.
No.
They're tired. Not unhappy, I'd like to think.
No. I tend to take notice of how people are interacting and stuff like that. Everybody's always happy after they're finished. It's done. The job's done. Go and enjoy the rest of the day.
we'll finish it up here, mate. But last thing I wanted just to sign off on, and Steve-O and I were talking about this just before we started this. Whenever we have some newer people coming through, for their first session or they're in their first week, and like Steve was saying earlier, it's a very, very challenging time. There's a lot of overwhelm, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of worry, there's a lot of uncertainty for new people coming in. But one thing that we can always count on is that if you're there in the session, you'll make them feel extremely welcome, and you'll have a chat to them. You'll encourage them. You'll say what a great job is they've done. You'll just shoot the shit with them at the end and make them feel like that they've you've known each other for a long time. And I know we've spoke about this off camera, but yeah, we always love seeing it. We truly do appreciate how welcome you make everyone feel. So I thought I would just share that with everyone, because I don't think we have anyone across both gyms that does it like you do, mate. So it's a real credit to you, and what a nice fellow you are.
I appreciate that. I do. That it's kindness costs nothing. It costs nothing. Just step out of your own world and make somebody else feel comfortable is a pretty easy thing to do.
Well, I could imagine, like, Corey, in all honesty, mate, as I said before, it's pretty daunting walking in those doors, right? So absolutely. I can only imagine, like, if there were times there where, like, I think that you've probably made more of a difference than you think on on somebody's first session. Like, I think, like, you approaching them at the end saying, oh, hey, look, what's your name? And telling them how, good of a job they've done. And then I've often heard you, like, explain, it gets a bit easier from here, that sort of thing. I think sometimes without that, their experience might be like, say a 7 out of 10, for example. Yeah. And then you speaking to them, it ups it to like a 10 out of 10, because like, it's just, you've just made them feel that much more encouraged, and you've made them feel a part of the community just simply by just going over and just making time for them in that 45 minutes.
It's a few words, Steve. It costs nothing to do it. You know what I mean? It's kind.
It just makes all the difference.
Yeah, it's make them feel good about themselves for a couple of seconds. Say hello, make them feel welcome. It's easy. Everybody should do it. Everybody should do it more. The kids joke around because whenever we're out somewhere or away somewhere, Dad's always talking to someone. That I like talking. Everybody does. So I'll strike up a conversation with anybody, but in the gym, Melanie and I love it there. We love you guys, especially Melanie loves you, Steve. Okay.
She often says to me, Corey, she goes, if Corey wasn't around, she's like, I wish Steve would be my husband.
Absolutely, Stephen. Yeah. Absolutely.
You made him all red in the face now, mate. Look at him, he's blushing.
No, it's just the lighting, mate. It's just the lighting, all right? It's just the lighting.
Steve, you're a lovely guy too, mate. And the reason we're still with Break-Thru is because the time when you just went to Cardiff, we were looking at the distance we had to travel. We couldn't leave. We're just too close to everybody. Yeah. We love you guys, and we love the people we train with. And it's a good place to be.
That's awesome, mate. Well, we might leave it there, but no, appreciate all the kind words, and it's going on our 5-year anniversary, mate. So it's been through a lot. We switched locations. You guys, follow us there all the way over from Fletcher, so we know it's a bit of a hike, but love having you there. Love having Mel there, and appreciate everything and all the support over the years, and yeah, we love having you guys there.
No, thanks, mate. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We will talk to you on the next one.
See you guys.
Thanks, gang.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If there is a topic you'd like us to discuss that we haven't already, please make sure you reach out in Facebook Messenger, and we'll do our best to cover it in the upcoming episodes. For those of you enjoying the podcast, we'd love for you to like, subscribe, and leave us a rating. It really helps us grow and spread the good word. Hoping you're all having a great day, and we'll be sure to see you on the next one.